Chancellor Rachel Reeves has confirmed that inherited pensions will become liable for inheritance tax from April 2027. This move aims to close what the government calls a loophole in passing on wealth when someone dies. The Chancellor unveiled £40 billion in tax rises during her speech in Parliament yesterday, with Reeves targeting capital gains and employer national insurance contributions to generate revenue for the Treasury. However, the inheritance tax raid on pensions is proven to be one of the budget's most controversial announcements. Reeling from the budget, analysts are warning some people could be slapped with a 67% double tax rate. What is inheritance tax? Well, currently inheritance tax is charged at 40% on the value of an estate, including possessions, money and property, above the threshold of £325,000. If someone gives away their home to a child or grandchild, this threshold is raised to £500,000. Spouses and civil partners can add any used threshold to their significant other's threshold when they die. Estates can pay inheritance tax at a reduced rate of 36% on some assets if they leave 10% or more of the net value to charity in their will. This refers to an estate's total value minus any debts. What has Reeves announced? Pensions are exempt from inheritance tax and are not included as part of someone's estate upon death. However, the Chancellor's policy will bring pensions under the tax regime, aligning them with other inherited assets. This change is expected to have significant implications for how people plan their finances and pass on wealth to future generations. Critics argue the existing policy has led to pensions being used as a tax planning vehicle rather than for their intended purpose of funding retirement. The budget announcement detailed that pensions passed on after death will be taxed similarly to other inherited assets from April 2027. This reform, along with changes to inheritance tax relief, is expected to raise £2 billion in total. Rachel Reeves stated, "I understand the strongly held desire to pass down savings to children and grandchildren, so I am taking a balanced approach in my package today." The policy change is likely to impact retirement planning strategies. Helen Morrissey, head of retirement analysis at Hargreaves Lansdown, suggested that more people will be dragged into paying inheritance tax as pensions become part of their taxable estate. She added that this could lead to a flurry of people revisiting their retirement finances, with many potentially opting to gift more money to loved ones while still alive. Russell Miles of wealth management firm Charles Stanley suggested the policy could lead to previously passive money now being spent, circulating a considerable amount of dead capital in the broader economy. Rachel McElhenney, an associate director at Deloitte, has warned of a potential double tax effect resulting from this IHT reform. She explained, "The removal of the inheritance tax exemption appears to result in a double hit on death benefits that do not qualify for an income tax exemption, such as those where people die over 75 years old." McElhenney further elaborated on the potential tax burden, saying, "Assuming the whole fund is subject to 40% inheritance tax and the beneficiary pays income tax at 45% on the remainder, this appears to give rise to an effective 67% tax rate on taxable pension death benefits." What other changes were announced? Well, the budget also introduced reforms to agricultural property relief and business property relief set to take effect in April 2026. The existing 100% rates of relief will continue for the first £1 million of combined agricultural and business property, aimed at protecting family businesses and farms. However, the rate of relief will be reduced to 50% thereafter. This change will also apply to quoted shares not listed on recognised stock exchanges, such as those on AIM. And these adjustments to property relief are part of the government's broader strategy to reform inheritance tax while maintaining support for certain sectors. Said changes are likely to impact estate planning for those with significant agricultural or business assets, potentially altering how wealth is transferred between generations in these sectors. Obi Nakiri, the head of private client consultancy South St James's Place, warned that the effect of the reform will be immediate. Expert planning advice is going to be ever more important to understand the potential complexity of the decision-making process. Business patriarchs and matriarchs will have to determine whether to pass business assets to children earlier and aim to survive 7 years. Additionally, work on pre-sale planning, such as gifting shares in the business into trust pre-sale, may be affected, and consideration will need to be given to what the knock-on effect will be on other areas of financial planning. Furthermore, Reeves confirmed that the inheritance tax threshold freeze will be extended until at least 2030. This means the nil rate band will remain at £325,000, while the residence nil rate band stays at £175,000. The residence nil rate band taper will continue to start at £2 million. Qualifying estates can still pass on up to £500,000 without incurring inheritance tax liability. For surviving spouses or civil partners, qualifying estates can pass on up to £1 million tax-free. This extension of the threshold freeze is expected to bring more estates into the inheritance tax net over time, as asset values potentially increase, while the thresholds remain static. Stevie Heaford, a tax partner at H.W. Fisher, noted that this move will not stop the levy from being considered the most unpopular tax in Britain. He said the decision by the government to freeze this figure until 2030, rather than increase it in line with inflation, means that many people will continue to find themselves caught in the inheritance tax trap for the very first time. The Chancellor should have increased it in line with inflation. Sadly, inheritance tax is no longer in the realm of the ultra-wealthy, but instead impacts normal working people. To stay up to date with all the budget fallout and how it will affect you, don't forget to subscribe to the GB News YouTube channel.
Using the internet without a VPN is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. We want to help protect you. This video's sponsor, Private Internet Access, is the VPN to help keep you safe. Now you might be asking, what is a VPN? Well, a virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and safeguards your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. This way, it shields your digital life from the eyes of those that are looking to exploit your private information. Whenever you connect to the internet on a public Wi-Fi network, such as at airports, coffee shops, friends' houses, or even in your own home, your data is at risk of being stolen. Hackers that are connected to the same Wi-Fi network have the ability to steal your personal data with ease. T-Mobile reached a settlement this year with the US Federal Communications Commission after they suffered data breaches in 2021, 22, and 23. In 2023 alone, over 37 million customers' data was exposed. And it's not just hackers to be concerned about. Information can be censored. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news content that you love. Private Internet Access is available for all platforms: Windows, macOS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one Private Internet Access subscription to protect an unlimited number of devices at the same time. Plus, we've got a huge GB News discount. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get 83% off PIA. That is under £2 a month, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee. So head to piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.